because she was Dutch, she was blonde, she was tall.
Okay.
Yeah, we were getting way too much attention to her. And she got really sick and dehydrated, and I had to rescue her from the desert. And a 1-day short trip became a 4-day survival trip. I gave her my shoes, and I was walking barefoot, and we had people chasing us that had guns. I walked all of Jordan by foot, and I stopped speaking Arabic after a while because they were getting too suspicious of me. So every person that met me would immediately ask me, "Inter منين? رايح لوين? مين أبوك? مين أمك?" And they start interrogating you like you're some kind of a shabak, interrogation officer. Every citizen that met me in the desert, in the city, where are you from? Where are you going?
In Jordan too.
Jordan. That's just simply Jordan. So same thing in Gaza and all these villages. They're super suspicious.
Why do you think it's like that in Jordan and Egypt? That's interesting to me.
In Jordan, you have a lot of tension between the Palestinians and the Bedouins that are controlling the country. Palestinians are the majority, and they've been proven again and again to be very not peaceful and very violent and very not supportive of the regime, basically like everywhere the Palestinians went. And that's why no one really wants to take them. So in Jordan, there's a lot of Secret Service activity happening, a lot. Mm-hmm. Many of it is focused to protect the country from anything that might harm tourism, because they see that as one of their biggest priorities. They don't have oil like other kingdoms, but they have tourism, and a lot of it is also to make sure that the kingdom doesn't fall to these radicals. So there's a lot of fixation there about who's this guy, where is he from, and also they just are fixated on the Mossad. They think that they fear them so much and they admire the Mossad so much in their own world. And it's kind of a funny hate and love relationship. And they think that every person that is semi-interesting is probably a Mossad agent. Like everybody. I got chased there with the Secret Service chasing me in the desert for hours because they thought I was a Mossad agent. And
I mean, like, they weren't too wrong, though. Like,
they want what?
They weren't too wrong.
I guess so. I wasn't.
You were like one phone call away from being an agent.
Yeah, I was there on tourism purposes only.
Amazing, interesting. All right. So they can tell that you are not. Something is weird. Can they tell you are not Muslim?
Not me, because I know Islam pretty well. Sometimes better than some Muslims, but they're immediately trying to understand if you're Muslim or not.
They do that.
Oh, yeah. Immediately. That's one of the first things. They want to see, they immediately know that you're not one of us. You're not from the village. And then they want to see if you're Muslim or not. A lot of them, they want to see also if you're Israeli American, because if you are an Israeli American, they don't like you. You immediately go into the box of like the big devil or the small devil. And then they try to understand if you are part of Islam, and then if you're Islam, if you're Sunnah or Shia, they're always, that's why they're very suspicious. When I was there, and that's a good trick actually for girls in general, because I part of my service in the military was also, I was a negotiator for a while for anti-terrorism negotiation. And there's a lot of tricks that you learn from negotiation that came very handy for me to survive some of the experiences that I had in Jordan. And one time I was fleeing a Palestinian village because they were trying to catch me and a girl that was with me. And the whole village was coming and it became very hostile. And
who was the girl?
She was a Dutch tourist that I met in the desert, hiking, and she got sick.
Because if she was local, I understand why they were all against you, but like...
No, actually it's worse. Just she wasn't local because she was Dutch, she was blonde, she was tall.
So it's a different kind of chasing. Okay.
Yeah, we were getting way too much attention to her. And she got really sick and dehydrated, and I had to rescue her from the desert. And a 1-day short trip became a 4-day survival trip. I gave her my shoes, and I was walking barefoot, and we had people chasing us that had guns. And it was crazy. And then we got to, after we managed to survive that experience of running away from these people and going through the valleys, and we got to a city, a village. I saw Israel on the horizon, and I saw a lot of kids running at it. I said, like excited kids. It was a small desert kind of town. And just out of interest, I already deleted every Hebrew that I had on my phone, every application. I resetted my phone completely because I knew what's going to happen next. And I asked these kids, just out of curiosity, hey, well, what's there? Because I saw Israel. And they said, Hi, Israel. And they started like spitting and cursing. And I said, do you like Israel? They said, no, we want to kill everyone there. Basically, the kids were telling me, like, start cursing them and all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I realized, okay, that's not a friendly village, and they should not know that I'm an Israeli. But the girl needed medical attention immediately, so we took her to the hospital. And over there, immediately, more and more people started to gather around the hospital, started to come and stare at her and talking to each other. Every second person started coming interrogating me, asking me to see my phone, asking to see my contacts, asking where's my accent from. And then the police came, started interrogating us, and then I feel like we have to get out of here quickly. So we made some like diversion tricks, and we got out of the village and to the highway, hitchhiking. A truck driver comes to pick us up and start taking us to the border with Eilat, going to Aqaba. That truck driver was also a radical Palestinian, and he started talking to me and asking me a lot of questions, who I am, where I'm from, etc. And that's what I'm saying, good trick. A lot of time when you're stuck in the situation and you feel like someone is asking you a lot of questions, and at one point or another, you're probably gonna say something wrong, and then everything gonna explode. Your cover is gonna be blown up. You're trying to hide your identity as a Jew, which unfortunately is happening more and more now around the world. People need to hide their identity as a Jew in Europe. It's becoming unsafe. So what you should do is, instead of just being reactive, answering questions all the time, start asking them questions. And what I did is kind of yawned and I said, I'm trying to connect to my Muslim roots and I want to learn more about Islam. My parents didn't teach me a lot about it, and I feel like, somewhere along the road I was Muslim. Can you tell me more about that? And he just bloomed, and he started talking for hours nonstop about what it means to be a Muslim, and if I will convert now, I can go and I would have so much power in me with the Prophet Muhammad, and I'll be willing to go and just sacrifice my life and jihad and kill myself and kill everybody around me. It was just like literally just trying to recruit me to become a suicide bomber. And then he even said, there's a mosque here, we can go and pray together, and then you are willing to give your life to Allah, to shaheed, which is to be.
Where did they want to send you?
Well, we didn't get to that level. I was kind of, let's calm down with the shaheed talks. I just want to.
You're not ready yet. You're attached, still attached.
No, I'm not there yet. But my point is that gave me, when someone else is talking, it gives you time to think about your next answer, your next approach to things. But when you're always talking, you don't have a lot of time to be prepared. And I feel like a lot of time with women, if you're in an uncomfortable situation with other men and they're trying to get some stuff from you, let them talk. That will give you some time to figure out an escape kind of plan. So people who are living in these countries, a lot of times deep inside, would have wanted to live in Israel. That's from interacting with many of them, and some of them just, getting to a place where we feel comfortable and trust. They will come and tell me, hey man, I wish we would live under the Jews because they're not Arabs. So that's how they say it. They will not say they're not Muslim. They will say they're not Arabs, which bring it to the Arabism that you're talking about. And that is related to the fact that, law and order abide in these places. There's humanitarian rules and life. And that's how they would look at it. There's no ego or tribal, corruption, nepotism, kumbinot. It's things are working like in Europe, like other places, and we want that. So a lot of people that came from under the Arab world, they get a bit hungry for what they see in the West in terms of the values and the freedom. Many times overwhelming. They don't know how to handle it. If you just take 17 or 20 years old immigrant from Syria, just put him straight in Germany, the streets of Berlin, it's overwhelming. It's almost impossible for many of them not to start looking at Western women as prostitutes. When I was about to be kidnapped in Jordan, and I was there later on to be the mother of my child, but we're not married. And immediately I told her, listen, they're going to come right now, they're going to kidnap us. Because we saw them coming. And I told her, and she wanted to run. I said, don't run, they're going to shoot us. And I told her, give me a name of a German international news company. And she gave me, I said, okay, you are a journalist for them. You are a Christian journalist for them. I am your husband. I am not your boyfriend. And she said, why? I said, it's very important because if they will know that you are my girlfriend, that means that you're a slut because you're having sex out of marriage. So you are my wife. That gives you a little bit more of a status of respect. I am not an Israeli, I told her. Don't say I'm an Israeli. And I built like a cover story for us quickly before we got kidnapped by later on to be found the Secret Service, but they were dressed like ISIS, basically, Al-Qaeda. So a lot of the Arabs, when they break free out of the boundaries of Arabism and they go into the Western civilization, there's a lot of aspects that are just overwhelmed. The freedom to be what you want, the way that women are empowered, it just kind of shoots up. One of my favorite pictures was when Israel now went into Syria to take over, the border to protect from an October 7 coming from these Al-Qaeda guys. There were pictures of a female Israeli soldier taking, hugging some young children. And just to imagine what was going in these kids' brain. They probably never seen a woman without a hijab. They probably rarely ever saw a woman walking outside the house without the permission of the man that allowed her to walk maybe to the river to bring some water from the well or shopping to buy some eggs. So they're seeing a woman that is coming in a superior army, military force that has just crushed the entire resistance in the Middle East. Every army that came on there was destroyed. Superior technological force is coming. And in that group that is completely different ideology than them, they also have women that are super empowered. Like a woman is a commander of that unit. And just that plays with their brain so much. How is this even possible? We're told that women are weaker than men, that they should be kept in the kitchen, that they should be stay as either, at best mother, at worst incubator for, a man to have sex as much as you want and have children. And then they come in to see this. So that a lot of time it's just kind of messing up their mind when it comes to that. So the Arab culture is very oppressive, unfortunately, and doesn't tolerate a lot of creativity, and people tend to want to escape it. But when they escape it, many of them bring the baggage with them.